She gave away everything she had. And at the end of her life, she was so poor, she lived in a tent in the forest until Muslims rediscovered her and she died in a car accident. But Amina Hastami wrote a book. And the opening sentence of that book is sort of moving. She says, every day, when I wake up, I choose to be a Muslim. Every day when I wake up, I choose to be a Muslim. That's true for everyone of us. You're not a Muslim because your name is Rafik, or Kader, or Zayed, or Aisha. You're a Muslim voluntarily. You choose to be a Muslim. You choose to be a Muslim when you choose not to tell a lie. You choose to be a Muslim when you do work that is honest. You choose to be a Muslim when you serve others. Whether they're Muslims or not, if they're in need, that's what it means to choose to be a Muslim. And when you look at Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, this idea of, you identify yourself, right? Self-identity and purpose. I exist to serve others. I exist first to worship Allah, but through worshiping Allah also, I'm serving others, not myself. Enable others to act virtuously. Help others. Don't just help yourself, right? Model the way ethically and tangibly. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam never asked people to do something that he didn't do himself. At the Battle of Khandaq, as you know, they're all digging the ditches, and Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Prophet of Allah, is in there carrying balls of soil on top of his head. That's Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If you ask people to do something, you should be willing to ask somebody to clean a toilet, you should be there right next to him cleaning that toilet, or her cleaning that toilet, okay? So, model the way ethically and tangibly. Don't just do a good thing and hide it. But it goes back to the notion of niyyah, right? Niyyah. The idea that when you do something, sometimes you want others to see. Not so that they will say, hey, and no. So that that person is inspired to do the same thing. If you're ethically in an invisible manner, especially if you're in a leadership position, you should behave ethically in an intangible manner, in an invisible manner. It's true, it's good. But what have you taught? When you have kids, right? You try to do good things in front of them, so they will do the same thing. Right? That's what you're doing. Same process. And finally, help them to believe and encourage. Right? One of my teachers, Prof, one of the things that it talks about people who get involved in doing work. And by the way, I know some of you may not have time to join IIT or human welfare, but you do what you can. You do what you can. You don't sit in front of the TV and watch, what do they watch?
CBS.
Chandelika Chan, I don't know. All right? The point is for hours. That's the only words I know in that language, okay? The challenge. The point is that being a Muslim is not always easy. You will be, Allah says in the Quran, be sure we shall challenge you, we shall test you. Right? So you read and look verse in the Quran, Allah peut dire, ou quoi un prophète là, donnant dans paradis, et moi je vais paraphraser, et au courant dans paradis en facilement. Vous connaissez ou vous connaissez ça, là pour un cœur, mais on paraphrase, ok? tout nous disait, montrez-nous, we have to show ourselves worthy. Right? So in the Quran is a verse, and I cited it the other day, right? Where Allah says, adopt as much taqwa as you can. Because sometimes your level of taqwa will be here. Very strong Muslim, during Ramadan, you're energized, right? Eid comes, 3 days later we can't see you in the masjid. Right? But that's another issue. But the point is you become a little bit weaker. The point, what Allah is saying, adopt as much taqwa as you can. You know, do your best. If you're on the low, keep trying. If you're on the high, still keep trying. But don't take things for granted. Right? That's what we're talking about. So if you're in a leadership position, it applies to you, it applies to others, and encourage them. Right? Encourage them. If you look at Islam today, Muslim countries, we're talking about it the other day. If you look at Transparency International, ranking how ethical Muslim countries are globally, of all the countries in the world, there's no single Muslim country in the top 25.
In the top 50.
I know, but don't make it too bad. Right? If you look at the bottom, you find a lot of Muslim countries.
All of them.
Right? Afghanistan, Iran, Somalia, Nigeria, not too far. We excel at being unethical. This ummah has fallen on hard times.
Yes.
But we know the end of the story, because our Prophet ﷺ has told us what's going to happen. But that doesn't mean we just sit, oh, the Prophet ﷺ prophesied, you know, there'll be lows, and no, but we have to do something about it. And that's what we're talking. We take faith, right, in what, inshallah, we know is going to happen, but we don't know when that's going to happen. You and I are building the people that will make it happen. And in following the leadership of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's where we're going to be. And I want to show you, to conclude, a video. Hopefully my video works. It worked this morning. Like that. It may not work. Inshallah it will work. This is in a sheet, and it's starting out by not working. But I know it is, so I'll go find it. If you will bear with me for a second. Great singer. This is in a sheet. Back to voice. Is there any sound? My sound seems to have disappeared. Is it because it's connected to something else? Leadership focus, character-based, transformational, and servant leadership. I did not talk about authentic leadership and the relationship between leadership and spirituality, but I focused on Islam. This is leadership in Islam integrates across all these theories and goes beyond that, focusing on character and ethics, both the use of ilm and hikmah, practical wisdom are emphasized in the model of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this part, I did not talk about this time. So, questions? I have one question. Where's my question? 3 minutes left. That's the question. This one? I think this one wanted to talk about a woman leadership in society. Yeah. 2 questions. Yeah. How to deal with staff who are empowered and then uses the empowerment in its leadership? That's a very good question. That's my business type question, rather than one that focuses. It really depends on the culture of the organization, right? So so there are a couple of things you have to do. There are a couple of things you can do. One is empowerment does not mean license. You provide une différence on freedom to act and license to act. I had that problem. I was head of my department, management department at my university. I had one faculty member who was acting up. And the one thing that helped me was the fact that there are very explicit rules of behavior for faculty members. That was one. Secondly, there's a strict code of ethics at the university. And thirdly, there are what called an administrative manual. So I don't know what organization you work for, but there must be written documents that talk about supervised subordinate relationship. And as a supervisor, let's say you're a supervisor, and somebody is trying to sabotage you, initially one thing that you can do is you can bring them to the office, which I did, and basically have a frank discussion. What is it that you're trying to do? Are we a team or are we not a team? Now, some people will understand that you know what they're trying to do. And maybe you can negotiate areas with them. They can do some work. But at the end of the day, you are the boss, right? In that particular situation, my first strategy did not work. My second strategy worked. Well, basically, I drew a line in the sand. I went like, I have a clear record of what you've done. So that may not be interesting to people, but you can talk to me after what you want. One thing that I tend to do when I have subordinates or starting to do that, I start building a file on what they're doing. And, if they are harassing other workers, if they are doing things that are contrary to company policy, and basically and eventually when this thing goes to a superior above me, I will have a clear track record. The last thing that you can do, and I don't know that you can do that, in my case, that guy sued the university, and because I had documented everything, he lost the case. So there are many things you can do, but I don't know the specifics of your situation. The first thing is don't panic. And if you think they're thinking too much and they're trying to overthrow you, meet them and clarify their duties. This is what you're supposed to do and not beyond that. Okay, make that very clear. The second question is, how do you deal with corruption? That's a good one. I don't want to talk about politics because that's another dimension. I'm really not qualified to talk about politics. But let's say, how do you deal with corrupt leadership in business or in organization? Corrupt leadership usually is a symptom of something worse. Not just in terms of leadership, but the very culture of the organization. there's something that has allowed them to become corrupt. And there's something that is basically not just allowed them to become corrupt, but there's a lack of accountability somewhere. People who do bad things should have bad things happen to them. Right? If you're a little kid, if you have a baby, right, a young child, and they are sticking things to electric sockets, right? Like one of my sons used to. Told him once, told him twice. The next thing, that a nice shock. Right? In America is 110, so it's not like you guys do 20. His hair stood up on his head, never did it again. In psychology, we call that the law of effect. In human resources, and basically we say that si un groupe est coquin, on va donner coquin entier à un peuple. No. Right? If somebody is corrupt, he should not be applauded for being corrupt. So people, either his bosses or the board of directors of the organization, should again at some point in time say, look, what you're doing is wrong. Either we replace you or first we want to give you a chance. And this is the amount of time you have to fix it. If you don't fix it, you're going to be replaced, you're going to be demoted, or you're going to be out. So it has to be made very. I had a faculty member who did that to me. And I brought him in my office and I said, you know what you're doing is wrong. You know, and I was associate professor, he was a full professor, but I was head of the department. And I said, you are a professor to do this, not that. And if you ever do that again, as your head of department, I guarantee you won't be working for this university. You stop. But you have to have the courage to stand up to them. Sometimes they're so powerful, so there are two choices. You can fight, you can talk, we call that voice, or you can lead. There are situations where the leadership and everybody else below that person is corrupt. You don't have enough of a power base to fight that person. In that case, my advice is before you start writing, you go to the whistleblower, you start writing letters either and the other, make sure you have a job waiting for you somewhere else. Okay? In America, when we have corrupt leadership, we have whistleblowers. So you think about WorldCom, you think about Enron, you think about Société Générale, all these famous cases. When that happens, the law, this is the United States, we have a whistleblower law that protects the person who is going to the press or revealing it. And if it is something really bad, let's say, I'll give you an example. Companies that produce medication that are unsafe, when the case is settled, whatever damages the court give, the whistleblower gets a percentage of those financial damages. So this is America. I don't know whether you have a similar law here. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. You also have ICAP. I don't know. Somebody said ICAP, UBI. I don't. Take the I off. Yeah. I don't do too much. I just read the Express and I was like, oh my God. Anyway. Any more questions? Let's talk about Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Any questions about Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? I don't know why. Let's go. Let's focus on this speech. We have reached 50 years of man. You guys ask macro level questions to somebody who doesn't come to Mauritius very often. Zaid probably can answer this question. We have reached 50 years of independence Mauritius, alhamdulillah. We have lots of intellectuals and activists, but fortunately, till today, we don't have a comprehensive standard. That's a good question. Well, part of it is, when, you are the Islam. That's right? This religion is you, it's me, right? But Islamic movement is a heavy term, so many connotations to it. I think just focus on getting a really good working Islamic organization. Then you can think Islamic movement. Islamic movement is way into the future, right? The Muslim community in Mauritius, unfortunately, is very divided.
Fragmented.
Well, you know what I'm saying, right? Very divided. And part of it is our own fault. And part of people can blame the government and this and that, but at the end of the day, right? If you look, I'll just give you an example. There are communities in America that are a very small minority. But they emphasize education. They emphasize unity. They're extremely motivated. And they are very powerful. So there's no reason why the Muslim community in this country can't work together. There's no reason why our sisters can be involved in that process. I'll give you an example. I asked basic questions about the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. Only a couple of people were able to answer. That tells me that people are not really going back and studying Uswatun Hasan. If we don't know the example of the Prophet, when you go to the khutbah on Friday, do you understand that Arabic? Because that's Fusha. Allah says, I have revealed an Arabic Quran that you may understand. Arabic is our language. It's not those of MBS or whoever, right? It's our language. So we need to take pride. We as a community, we need to take pride in being working together. You will get setbacks. You will have people talking behind your back. You will, probably not like Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but as long, I look at my friends and my teachers, and some of you there that I know, here too, there are people who have dedicated their life to making the Muslim community better. When I come back, they're still there. And the reason is because not enough of the remainder of you, or at least you showed up, but how many did show up? See what I'm saying? So, come on, the dear, with the journey of 1,000 miles start with a single step. Yeah? Before we start talking about Islamic movement, try to pray at least one prayer in the mosque per day. Kapit même Fajr ou Isha. You will find your heart will open up. Your iman will become strong. You will want to be among your brothers and your sisters. Okay? So, do little steps. Work with people like Zaid and my teacher over there. And those people at IEC. Any other question about Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Please, let's focus on Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This probably is a tough question from Sister. How did the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? This is what happened when you're a doctor, you can't write. How did the Prophet ﷺ... I'm teasing you, sorry. Your handwriting is very good, but I have to do this. Yes. How did the Prophet ﷺ manage with time constraint? That's a very good one. What were his principles of prioritization? That's a good one. I actually wrote a lecture on that, on time management in Islam. First, the Prophet ﷺ, you must remember, he was extremely punctual. There's a hadith of Prophet ﷺ where somebody made an appointment and then didn't show up. And then 3 days later he remembered. And he went to that place and there was the Prophet ﷺ waiting for him. How many of you do that, by the way? Fini aller là. Après 5 minutes, fini aller là. Yeah. So, one, he was extremely punctual. Secondly, he was really good at building people around him. So you may not think about it, but in fact, Dar al-Arqam was a training ground. He built a team around him, right? He built a team around him. He did not in battle, after Khalid ibn Walid, right? Ibn al-Walid accepted Islam. Khalid was the one leading the army in battle, right? Not Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So when he went out of town, because he had to go out of town, who did he appoint in charge of Medina? Who? Who's? I said who? The blind person I just mentioned, Ibn Maktoum. Did you say that? Sorry. You all said it? Somebody said it, I do apologize. But you're right. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one thing that I always say, when you look at Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is like leadership in action. No person in any organization can do everything. The first task of a leader is to train his or her replacement. You should, no organization, no Islamic organization, should be dependent on its founder. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam realized that from the beginning when Dar al-Arqam trained them. So you had people who basically came from nothing but humble people and traders, like Abu Bakr, who became champions, right? And they worked with him. So in America, like you, we have problems, right? Every country has problems. We have our own problems. Biggest one we know about. But Islamic organization, MSA, Muslim Student Association of North America, US and Canada, right, almost died because its founder became associated with the organization. He had to be removed for the organization to survive. It's hard to remove your own founder. CARE, some of you know about it, Council of American Islamic Relations, had the same problem. ISNA had the same problem. ICNA, Islamic Circle of North America, had the same problem. And the people who are at the top are top. I mean, they are incredibly good people. In Islamic studies, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he died, he did not appoint his relative to be the next Khalif. And here is, Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing? That's all right. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself did not appoint Ali radiallahu anhu to be the next Khalif, deliberately. So the point I'm trying to make is that You know, he stayed focused on the message. He always stayed focused. When they were trying to bribe him, he stayed focused on the message. When Uhud happened, he stayed focused. When bad things happened, like at Taif, he stayed focused on his mission. He never ever took his eyes off the goal. That's one. Secondly, he trained and educated a team of people around him. And thirdly, he left a manual for all of us. A manual and its application. But there also you're talking about divine guidance, right? So there are many reasons why Muhammad ﷺ was able to succeed. And he was surrounded, by really good people. Besides Abu Bakr, we talk about his wife. We talk about Salama, for example. We talk about Zainab, for example. We talk about Aisha radiallahu anha. These were Khadija radiallahu anha. Those were, who was it after he received revelation? Who first calmed his fears, right? And then went to her uncle, Waraka bin Nawfal. So he was surrounded by wonderful. And then we talk about Nusayba after one. So it's a complete system. And of course, Allah was always there watching over you. I'm going to stop right here.
There's last question.
Last question.
If you have a team and as a leader, if you have conflicting views among the team, so what you should do?
If you have what?
Conflicting views.
With your leader. You don't agree with your leader.
No.
Among the team.
They have conflicting views.
Right.
And you as a leader, what you should do?
Yeah. Is it an Islamic organization?
No, it's like in general.
It's in general. Yeah. So I'm going to answer it at a general level. Okay. So this is more the business area. Okay. So one of the things that happens when you're in charge of a team is you do not want people to self-censor. In other words, let's say we won't mention our president, but let's assume that they're dissenting opinions. The first thing is dissenting opinions provide you with information that something is not right. If you as a leader suppress dissenting opinion and only listen to people who agree with you, we call that in psychology groupthink. You will get people who reflect your point of view, and if that point of view is potentially erroneous, you will make decisions upon that. So it's important to allow everybody to participate, surface the dissenting opinions, and let people come to each other and come and agree. But you have to have patience as a leader to let that happen. And not every leader is able to do that. It really depends on your leadership style. And I didn't mention that at all in the book with Jamal Badawi I talk about it. Leaders have different styles of leadership. You can be democratic, you can be team-oriented, or you can be direct. What? Yes. So a leader who is directive is going to have a hard time letting people who don't agree voice their opinion. Because he's come, especially leaders only want to hear one thing. They come to the table with a set thing in mind. They only want to hear people that agree with them. Those that are dissenting with others or their point of view, they basically tell them to shut. Groupthink is defined as the suppression of dissent and drive towards consensus. So you just want consensus.
Should we go with the majority or with the minority?
Well, you are a leader. If the majority is wrong, are you going to do the majority? You see what I'm saying? That's why you're the boss. You should, remember what I said before, leadership is not just about sacrifice, it's about courage. Right? So sometimes when you look at all the data, people have other agenda and go like, no, the majority is saying that. I'm not going to agree. Look at our president. And when he stepped out, am I right? Stepped down. they were passing that law. That was a majority. And he went like, no, I'm not going to sign that thing. If I remember right. Right? But you have to have courage as a leader. I have to add that in my next one. Okay? I think we're done.
We can pick up later on.
There's a question at the back.
You want to pick up? You want to pick up?
What? Are we done?
You're having an interview.
Yeah, we'll take a break now and we'll come back.
We'll come back.
Inshallah, we can talk about stress management from an Islamic perspective. All right?
Okay, you see where you are. Now we are going to, under the patronage of our President, Kasamuddin, we are going to have some housekeeping for this institution here. First of all, I would like to call on Dr. Yasir Uzia. He's doctor in medicine, incidentally. He's and a specialist in diabetes, and he's going to address you on the new development in the IIET. He's president of SIM. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. All praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Peace be upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It's my pleasure to be among you today and to be given the opportunity to say a few words about Société Islamique de Maurice, SIN, as an organization who has been here for the last 40 years or so. So I would like to thank Human Welfare League for giving us a small slot, 15 minutes, to just give an overview of what our organization is all about. Well, definitely, we are not going to be difficult to talk about SIN in 5 to 10 minutes, but at least I'm going to get a broad idea about our organization. It started with, as you can see here, we are registered since 1983 as an organization. We are registered to National CSR as well. And it's all started with students from the university that decided to group, to organize themselves, to help people out, to work in the field of dawah, to help the community at large. There were seminars, there were youth camp. We brought people who came from abroad just to give us gifts about Islam. We disseminated Islamic literature for people to learn more about Islam. So there was a lot being done since the last 40 years. And just a brief on some of our missions, some of our objectives right now. We are promoting education, research and training, as you can see, one of these collaborations with HWL. We also engage a lot with uplifting the socio-economic welfare of the community and social justice. And we are also dealing a lot, helping a lot in youth development as well. We have a lot of collaborators, alhamdulillah, and those in Dawah organization, many of you here, to present Islam to people, to Muslim and non-Muslim as well. We collaborate with organization of research like HWL. We collaborate with Islamic Relief, with Masajid. For example, when we say we collaborate with Masajid, it means that we do some talks about, for example, we just said it's very important to learn about the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in many Masajid, what we do this type of courses, seerah courses. We also engage people in the society, in the community, to see what are the problems in the society, in the community, and we engage with them in masjid, so that they realize how important it is for them to care, to do social work. And we also collaborate with secondary school, and we are going to have We know that there are problem challenges that students face at school, transiting from primary to secondary school. So, inshallah, we are planning the next few weeks to have a workshop with parents, with students of this age group, try to help them to manage these kind of challenges. We also are planning to, as you know, there's something what we call an activity period in school, in secondary school, so we are trying to take this opportunity to give tools to students, as we said, to know how to learn a bit about life, not just academic, but also what is it all about on the week to so the marché du travail and all this. And we also collaborate internationally. So, what are the services and activities? I just listed a few that SIM, Société Islamique de Maurice, is doing presently. We have a bookshop to disseminate some literature. We have, in terms of education, throughout the island, we are conducting courses on Quranic Arabic so that people can learn, they can understand when they are reading the Quran, when they are listening to the Quran, they can better understand what they are reading. And so we do these Quranic Arabic courses in several places in Mauritius. We also starting Sirah courses. We have leadership training that we do with students from the universities, especially from Masjid Redwi. We also start something that we call Family Life Education Series because there are lots of challenges that parents, adults, they face with. So we are trying to give a hand in that field. We started a big anti-drug campaign for the last 2 years in several regions. Just yesterday we were in Tayak where we started a campaign, anti-drug campaign there as well. Because we know that this is something that we are very much concerned about. And in terms of youth development, we do regular activities for them, youth camp, football tournaments, and we are starting from Masjid Reji. We are going to start what we call a tarbiyah every month, inshallah. And we also started what we call Islamic Kids Club because we feel that we need to give the proper environment for kids to grow. So we also have what we call a Sakina home, which is a home for women in distress, especially reverts. We also manage zakat. In that case, there is also what we call social housing that we do a lot to help people to alleviate poverty. We also are concerned about the unity in Mauritius, in our country, so we conduct regular interfaith activities. We also try to give, we have what we call a SIMA Educational Trust that we give scholarship to the needy. And also we do observe what we call the World Quran Day because we stress a lot about learning and understanding Quran. This we do it every year during Ramadan. This is a bit of what SIM currently is doing, and we most welcome any one of you who want to join with us, or those who have any more queries, questions, or require some more information about our organization, feel free to contact us. Well, we are actually in having the plan of renovating IIT, the center here, and I will leave it to our engineer, Brother Sadil. He's going to give us a bit of a brief on what we want to do in the future, Inch'Allah. Juste comme une annonce, une voiture 1306 U1306 et ce
a retired engineer. Donc when I retired, fall back on my own love. 21 years ago, President Kasamuddin, in the presence of Shamsaldin from IDB, opened this center. And as you can see, nothing has changed except for the color. Now it is always got to go. When Rafik came in, he immediately said, "What's that? What that color? We have to change it." So alhamdulillah, we have heard him. We are going to change it. This is the famous IIT. As you can see, we have tried to make something comfortable, but over the years, 21 years, we have been doing activities here, workshops, even the Indian Ocean conference on, I forgot, it was so far away. Anyway, we've done so many things here, but what we've been plagued with is the lack of comfort. In summer you've got heat like we have today, and even today we've got an air conditioner on. In the morning it was Jannat, now it's Jahannam, because it's getting worse, even especially for those sitting at the back. So what we are planning to do is to do, it's not only a facelift, but it is really a renovation, and we are going to try to get out of this building all the bad things which were in there and do a project which is going to be a gem for the Muslim population, inshallah. Instead of going through all these plans, I'm an engineer, I can easily find my way through this, but to explain my way through it might be difficult. So from the old building which was in pink, this is what eventually, inshallah, one day you're going to see. So what we were proposed to do, since we are inside the room, we are proposing to remove all these walls, these, and make a bigger space which we can use for small receptions, weddings, workshops, etc., which is going to be a source of funding. The reason why you see the state of the building is due to a lack of maintenance, and lack of maintenance not only because of negligence on our part, but also mainly because of lack of funds, money to be able to do that. So what we want to do is to make sure that there is a fund coming in regularly so that we can continue to maintain the building. So what we are going to do is to remove the walls, make a better place here, and at the back where we have the mess, at the back there we're going to change it and then make it an esplanade. This is where we are sitting. This is what is going to happen, and a second stage will be conversion of this first. Here it's only one story, and what we are also proposing. What we are also proposing is to have a second story here, which we are going to rent as office space, so that we can again raise funds to maintain the entire premises. So this is the entrance. Let me go to the end of the. We go on a guided tour. Maybe this is going to be. This is going to be easier if I move to. I wanted to do this presentation in Creole, that since Rafik has done the part of his program in Creole, I said, I know his Creole is American, my English is Creole, so let me switch and try to do something. So, naturally, if you want to reach that stage, it means that we need funds. And this is one of the reasons maybe that we are presenting. Not only so you'll be familiar with a space which you can use, your children can use in future, but
You know, when you came in through the door, I think my sisters gave you a few papers, which concerns the fundraising that we want to do for this project. A stage one of the project, which is going to be the renovation of this building plus construction of a new kitchen, the office space, and a caretaker's house, will cost us about 9 million rupees. That's the stage one. And the second stage will include the convention center at the back. There's even a swimming pool. It's more for the kids than for the sisters, because I see the sisters are smiling, but it's going to be for you as well, don't worry. So this is going to be convention center. Unfortunately, we haven't priced this yet. It's going to be quite expensive. And we are also going to put in a football pitch, again, to get revenue to be able to maintain these premises. Because this is quite costly. For those who know the center, you will have noticed that our plot of land seems to have grown towards the river. Fortunately, there was a Chinese contractor who decided to dump his materials on our site, and this has given us the opportunity to get some more land which we are using as parking space. And that's the reason why now we are in a position to have more receptions here, we can have small weddings, and we can have a convention center with quite a number of parking space. So I'm going to end here because I think my time is up. It's 2:30. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The main objective of this is, of course, to attract fund, and fund which will certainly serve the community. This is the main idea behind the whole exercise. Now, let's move to the next item, which is very dear to my heart indeed. It's an item which the IET here is closely associated with. It's to do with a project, a research project in education. And as you know, I was at the MIE, I was in charge of research, and I'm a very research-focused person. And I thought this is a very good opportunity for us, Muslims in this country, to be put on the world map, at least part of the world map of Muslim communities. Now, this project, which is stemmed from the IIIT of USA, in conjunction with Indiana University, is being conducted. It's known as advancing education in Muslim societies. Is being done not only in Mauritius, but in at least 6 to 7 countries, Muslim countries in the world. And Mauritius is special focus because Mauritius has got a multicultural society. I will leave the main nitty-gritty aspect of this project to Dr. Jabir Subrati, who will be in charge of, will be the coordinator for this project of collecting data and all this. Now, Dr. Subrati has got a PhD in intercultural education from Japan, and you will see she's a very research-focused person, and we think that she's the right person to coordinate this project. She will tell you more about the project herself. And thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you very much, Professor Kala. So, since the morning you heard the word IIIT, and do you know about IIIT? It's the International Institute of Islamic Thought. Maybe right now you don't know much about it, but I know a lot of Mauritian read Al-Jum'ah magazine, and always at the end of Jum'ah al-magazine, you will find the latest publication by IIET. It's commonly known as Triple IT. So Triple IT is involved in carry on research, evidence-based research within an Islamic perspective, and afterward to disseminate this research through publication, teaching, policy recommendation, and strategic engagement. Well, why is it important for us, this kind of research? Let me tell you something, like, if you meet our, like, for example, the elders in Mauritius, they will tell us, oh, there is a degradation of the values, okay? But this is their opinion. They believe that the values among children is not like before. They were more respectful, they were more kind to the elders. So now when you do research, you go and analyze this kind of belief. You do a survey, you analyze it, and then you try to find a solution, bring something new, how to improve it. And this is very important for our Muslim community. Research is being done in Mauritius at university level, it's done at maybe institute also, they do a lot of research. But when it comes to research in an Islamic perspective, within the Mauritius context, we have very few research that has been done. That is why Human Welfare League, we are encouraging research in Mauritius within our context. And this will help us to know our society better and what we can do to improve it. Now, one of the major research of Triple IT, current research, is AEMS, Advancing Education in the Muslim Societies. Now, you hear the word education. So education is a very big word. Okay, when it comes to education, we will be developing various kind of skills: writing, speaking, listening, reading. But this research, through this research, what we will be looking is what we call the third space. And what is the third space is to do with values. So at an international level, Triple IT will be mapping the terrain when it comes to values among the Muslim and non-Muslim. So they have developed questionnaire in various categories for students, parents, administrators, and teachers. And the survey will be done in various countries. And alhamdulillah, Mauritius has been chosen to be part of this project. And the questionnaire are based on the universal Quranic values paradigm, like empathy, forgiveness, moral reasoning, and community-mindedness. This is what we will be looking through this survey. And this survey, as I mentioned, it is universal Quranic values, which mean like even non-Muslim can participate in this survey because they believe in empathy, in forgiveness, in moral reasoning. Now, HWL, Human Welfare League, it took us like around 3 months to develop this project in Mauritius. So first we needed to do a feasibility study, if we can do this survey in Mauritius. And alhamdulillah, through the feasibility study, the pilot test, we get a very positive research. And after that, we selected a group of data collectors. We will work as a team and we will do this survey on a national level. So inshallah, today we will launch this research. And I would like to call on stage our data collectors, Mr. Zahir, Madam Kadirsa, Ms. Amin, and Rubaina, please come on stage. We do have, and Mr. Riyad, please. And we do have two other data collectors, but they had to leave early.
Well, all the data collectors can come on the stage at the back, and I will call on His Excellency, the Kasam meeting, to come in on the stage. We'll have to do together for the launching of this advanced education in Mauritius, in Muslim societies. Well, some of you may be puzzled why our brother Kasam is here. I would like to remind you that Dr. Jabin Subachi and Dr. Salma Sirali, they were two winners of scholarship offered by SIM through the efforts made by Kasam when he was in Leicester some almost 7-10 years ago. You remember when you at Leicester meeting, so probably 25 years, yeah. In the 80s. So this is why you find him here. We are very grateful for the efforts he made for us to get these two scholarships. So today we are launching this. I would like Brother Kadir to join in the photo also, because he is the head of the academic board, and he is the one who is boosting the work in this field.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was invited as a guest and not as a speaker. But as they say, there is no free lunch in this world. So before having some snacks, I suppose I must take a few words. I'm most grateful actually to the IIET for inviting me to this very important launching ceremony, where we are meeting actually to launch a research on education, without which, as you know, without education, there is no future for any community. And I have just been reminded that in some way I participated in, long time back, I participated in the effort made to bring two of our students for the courses at Leicester and elsewhere. And they have come back, they are working and they are contributing, and they will be contributing to helping the new generation in the field of education. I wish this study, this research, all the success that it deserves. I will be following it from far, and if you invite me from near also, and whatever contribution you think I can bring, I should do my best to bring that contribution. I thank you once again for this invitation, and I have pleasure.
I will now call on Prof. Rafik Beekun, please, to come inside the room. No, he's not about. Somebody can call Brother Rafik Beekun. Come on, the door is locked. We need an engineer to open the door, please. Rita, you're the one.
still, yeah. What happened was President Putin came to America to address the Islam Convention. So he came to America to address the Islamic Society of North American Convention, which is the largest organization in North America. So we honored him, and so we gave him a present.
Yes, correct.
So the present was a globe of, planet Earth. What's the first thing that the Martian do when you give him any kind of abstract? It looks for Mauritius. And there was no Mauritius. So they started laughing. You have the FBI, all the, these guys are looking at why is the president of the country laughing? And
Presidents don't usually laugh.
So I think they give you a golden star, the second Mauritius one. So I don't know whether I should stick a star on this either, but thank you so much. So somebody I've admired many, many years, and by the grace of Allah, he knows, I wrote part of my book on leadership. We were very happy to use him as a role model. And that example I just used right now, I'm going to put it in my next book, inshallah. Leadership also requires courage.
You didn't say that I was in America thanks to you.
Well,
Isn't it?
thank you, sir.
Now a small gift, very small gift to the president.
Oh, absolutely.
That was long overdue.
That's a great book. Yeah. This is a great book.
I read this, it's original English. It's good French.
Yes, now we proceed with the last item on the program. This is going to be chaired by Dr. Salma Sayrali. She specializes in Islamic finance. Currently, she is research consultant at ISRA, which is the International Sharia Research Academy for Islamic Finance, a research institution set up by Central Bank of Malaysia that focuses on research in Sharia and Islamic finance. She's also the editor of books and journals. She has already published a book, if I'm not mistaken, on Islamic finance, and she's also editor online of journals dealing with Islamic finance and Sharia. I'll leave you in the good hands of my sister, Salma. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. So after a very long day and very good discussion on the first topic that was covered by Professor Rafik on leadership of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, now is the time for him to share his presentation with us on stress management from an Islamic perspective. In stress, with no one of us, if I can say, would be unfamiliar with the term. Every day, even from the young, my boy, my second, who is now joining PESA, grade 6, again he tells me he's stressed. There's too much demand on us these days, right? And surely the topic has been discussed from an Islamic perspective, right? How do we handle stress? Every day, we don't find sufficient time on our hands to do the list of things for the day, right? So inshallah, Brother Rafik, Professor Professor Rafik is going to, may I ask you to proceed with your presentation? You have 1 hour for the presentation, and then we'll end with Q&A for 15 minutes at the end.
So, my co-author on this paper is a medical doctor as well as a professor on the Faculty of Medicine at Cairo University. So the physiological part of the paper is really hers, because I know there's a doctor in the audience, a couple of you. So I wish I could answer that part, but really that's her specialty. Tahar is brilliant. I think she now has Saha, and now I think she got tenure recently. So alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. You're right, stress is all pervasive. It's a condition that takes place when demands exceed your ability or resources to handle. You can experience stress at any age, any condition. Men, women experience stress, right? So when we look at stress, the first thing that we have to remember that stress, in fact, we could view it as part of the test that Allah, remember I was talking about that earlier on, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Right? Be sure. This is, Allah's telling you it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You will be tested with something like fear and hunger, some loss in goods or lives, or the fruits of your toil. You may earn a lot of money, and that takes all of it back. Right? You marry somebody wonderful, Allah takes that person away. Right? You have a child, Allah takes that child away. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah took Ibrahim, right? His son away. But وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ, right? The key life values and the verse continues. When we look at stress in general, stress is a function really of two variables from a macro perspective, and then we'll go in deeper. So in the first part of this speech, I'm going to build up your knowledge of stress. Because you need to have that base so that then you understand how stress is caused, what it does to your body, what it does to your body psychologically, physiologically, so that then you understand where Islam is coming in. Okay. So the amount of stress that one experiences depends on two things. One, your perception of the situation. And secondly, your ability to handle. Very straightforward. But Allah, while He says that you are going to be tested, He also promises that you can handle that stress. You know this last verse in Surah Baqarah that all of us should memorize anyway. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not put a anybody, on any soul, nafsan illa wus'aha, greater than it can be. That each one of us, no matter how hard the test, we have within us capacity to handle. And this is something, if you just remember that part, by the grace of Allah, you should be able to handle any level of stress. But again, you know, there are a couple of variables that kick in that make some people, I should say, better able to handle stress than others. So then the question is, what is stress? So stress is your body's way. Stress is your body's way. Somebody took out my thing. Because it belongs to yes. And can be caused by both good and bad experiences. Many people don't realize it's not just bad experiences cause. You're about to get married. Anyone of us who's been married, you know, we remember how loud our heart was beating, right? It was sweating, right? Like this thing with that. Right? And you know, so you get stress. Stressor is a stimulus event or person that triggers the stress response. Stress, the bad part of stress that we call distress, because there's also the good part of stress that we call eustress. Right? Distress is the negative psychological, physical, behavioral, organizational consequences that may arise when one is exposed to prolonged stress. The key word here is prolonged. And you understand why that is. Okay? Prolonged, especially negative type stimuli. Okay? And stress management. So when we pick the title, we are basically going in the stress research literature, which basically says you do not want to eradicate all stress. What you want to do is you want to get rid of the distress, the bad stress, but you want to enhance the good stress that we call eustress. That's good? Nothing too fast, right? Okay. So it's a set of skills that enable one to anticipate, prevent, manage, and recover from the wear and tear by perceived threats and coping deficiencies. Penser une accusation, ou penser qu'un adversaire ou un individu qui travaille pour vous est votre piège, ou penser qu'un époux ou épouse qui est trahi. Okay? Perception becomes reality very often. And coping deficiencies that you're unable to deal with in whatever way. So there are actually many more than 3 approaches to stress, but I think 3 for today. The first one with the concept of homeostasis. Homeostasis is a state of balance in the body, right? The balance is maintained through a series of negative feedback. I'm okay now. Okay now. You know, state of balance, homeostasis. Right? And so what happens is, by the way, we have the slides, not to make copies. You should have gotten the slides from my lecture. Right. The first one is the homeostatic approach. Basically, you have homeostasis. Something happens that's perceived to be negative or maybe positive and leads to stress. That's the first one. Second one is the cognitive appraisal approach. Individuals differ in how they assess stress and how to assess events and people. And so what happens there is what stresses one person may not stress another person. Give me an example. One I know that best. In the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, certainly with respect to his companions, You know what happened at his death, right? When he died, le pensée, right, cognitive. So Abu Bakr et Omar, la façon qu'il les deux filment, l'étant the prophet law, what were their response? Omar is taking his sword, I'm going to slaughter anybody who says the prophet is dead. Abu Bakr on the other way. Different. Right? He recites that verse. And Omar went like, it's like the first time he heard it. So perception, right? One, so the way that you define how they assess the events. For Omar, like everything is sent by the prophet. Yes, but the message is independent of that prophet. The message was being delivered from that prophet. Once that prophet is gone, the message is permanent. Right? So that's a good example of how the same stressor was viewed as very different by Omar the other one as compared to Abu Bakr the other. So a third way of looking at stress is the person-environment fit. No extra stress to what I again good. I learn it matches the skills, then I put to stress. Mais disons, let's say you go work for a company and they give you responsibilities or tasks that are beyond your training, or something within the amount of time that it's extremely difficult, within which it would be extremely difficult for you to accomplish it, and as a result you have stress and strain. Right? So far so good? Okay. So now we're building you up, as I said in the first part, the first 10 minutes, so that you can understand how to deal with stress. Now, what are the sources of stress? You have many different kinds of sources of stress. One is task pressures, right? Which became, so as you see later, you change the job description, lack of control. You should be promoted, but you're not going to be promoted. Somebody junior to be promoted. It's not only in Mauritius. It happened to me twice last year in America. Career switch, new technologies, overwhelming workload, right? He's working, and we know you're working, but it's extremely hard. It's one of my role models for many years. And, he's working on IIT stuff. And it's midnight. Now, he was Amir of IIT, but he's also a father. So Mrs. Imran calls him on the phone and said, or something, maybe when your kids were younger, won't you come home and help them put them to bed? So you have a conflict between your role as Amir of IIT and your role as a father, and maybe other roles that you occupy as a professional role, right? And suddenly you feel stressed, right? Did you feel stressed? I knew you felt stressed. You told me about it. All right? So role conflict, or you get a job and it's unclear, right? It's unclear. In marriages often break up because husband and wife cannot agree on who's going to be what. And before you know it, blah, blah, blah. Right? Well, interpersonal pressures at work. You may have abrasive people working for you. Right? Islamophobia. When I started keeping a beard, my dean came to me, you would keep that thing on your face. Right? Islamophobia. I had people, because they didn't like my comments on Facebook, write my dean, tell my dean to fire me. They were not Muslims. Islamophobia. Right? You don't have this too much. Do you have this? I know how to say that here. Physical, physical pressures. You take a job, very hard job, demanding environments, right? Physical pressures. Non-work stress. Non-work is also can cause stress, right? So spouse, you get into a fight, somebody gets into a fight. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed away from his wife until Allah ordered him. Make a decision here. Right? Allah told him. He went to, and for our teenagers, any one of us raising teenagers know how much it's a new life. In-laws, we don't want to do it that way. Okay? Personal pressures. Right? Ramadan is coming. He said, and put this and that good. Right? New marriage, traumatic events, death. Very. So those are non-work stress disorders. So what happens? So can you put stress in the year? The positive and negative aspects of stress. So when we look at the positive aspects of stress, we call that eustress. You rentre en competition, un débat, or you're going to speak up here. Initially, you feel that small kick, right? It's adrenaline kicking into your bloodstream, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. You can, in fact, you're more energized. You have a surge of physical strength. From a health point of view, you're able to focus better, right? Improve function of the cardiovascular system. On the other hand, you're about to take HSC. All of us know how much fun that was, right? So individually, some people break down. They study way too hard, they get burned out. They get ulcers. They get psychosomatic pain, and yet nothing is wrong with them, right? They start acting up. When you are really stressed, you come home, and then, something happens at home to the kids. You just may not have the patience to deal with that problem right then and there. Later on you can, but not right then and there. There's a hadith of Prophet ﷺ where the Prophet said that, for example, when a judge is angry, he should not pass judgments. Because we know that that may affect the kind of decisions you make. Right? So, organizational, people either stop participating or their motivation level goes down. As a result, their performance goes down and the work itself becomes sharp. So, this is called the Yerkes, Docs, and Law. And what happens is really interesting. So on the y-axis, we have performance arousal. Right? On the x-axis, we basically have the level of stress. Right? In fact, we share there's a lot of research behind it. Low stress. Right? If there's not enough challenge in something, let's say you'd say to your spouse, okay, let's go and watch a movie. And he says, yep. Or she says, yep. Or, you go, your wife says, what do you want? You want to go, so let's say the husband says, you want to go to Flicanflat or what? Yes. The husband says, you want to go visit my in-laws? And the wife says, yes. What if the husband says, the wife is agreeing, or alternately the other way, you want to spend a ton of money going to Audi? Yes. Right? Even though you can't afford it. This, when you don't have any kind of challenge like that, or any kind of exchange, you're married to a robot. Really you are. And there are psychological reasons why that may have happened. It may have been that in the past, when the wife made any kind of comment, or husband, they got slammed. And as a result, in psychology, they develop something that we call learned helplessness. Right? So the husband comes home, and you know, there's a nice smell of what dish? Imran. Vandalu. Biryani, right? It's wafting. You know how freshly cooked biryani smells? Don't get that, okay? You know what I'm saying, right? And so the kids have done their homework, they've been bathed, they're ready to go to bed, and the husband starts eating the biryani, right? And takes one spoonful, now it's really good, takes a second one, takes a third one, then he makes the grand comment that will end everything. This is good, but not as good as what my wife. And that's when you go like, man, what are you doing? Okay? The point is, no matter what that spouse does, the car is not nice enough, the house is not big enough, the neighbors, but anyway, the other spouse is not happy. And as a result of that, we learn to become helpless. In psychology, we call that learned helplessness. And then what happens is, no matter what one spouse asks, the other spouse is basically going to help you. That's when you're married to a robot, right? And that's not good. On the other side, you look at high distress, they're always fighting. Always fighting, right? Could be at work, you and your boss, could be a relative, could be in-laws. And so as a result of that, you're always in the state of negative conflict, and therefore it leads to high distress. By the way, one day, Umar radiallahu anhu walked into, and watch time very carefully, walked into the house of the Prophet ﷺ, and saw his daughter who was married to the Prophet ﷺ, Hafsa. She was hitting the Prophet on his chest. And Umar, we know, is like a car with one speed, you know, takes his sword out and hit right there. Like, sorry, Prophet. I guess he's about to dispatch her right there. No. Let her. So the Prophet ﷺ experienced conflict with his wives. He was very stressed after the necklace incident, if you remember. Right? You remember that? He had tears in his eyes. So we're talking about the Prophet of Islam. He was human. Right? So what you want to be somewhere in the middle. Right? Where you're managing the level of stress. Not too little, not too much. And then if you draw a line here to the y-axis, this works there. Right? Yes, you can have disagreements with your spouse. You should encourage your co-workers to give you dissenting viewpoints, right? And you'll find that as a result of that, by getting rid of groupthink, by not turning your spouse into a robot with, punch bag, that the level of happiness, it's a new area of research right now, of that relationship will be much higher. And this is where you want it. So I don't know why I did those things turning around, but they're turning around. So next time, come and stop it. I think I know why I did it. So what is the stress response? So let's talk about this. Is an important, Farida, I know she knows this by heart, so bear with me, Farida. So one of the things that happens when you have prolonged stress is you can have a number of issues, especially negative stress. Somebody is in a bad marriage. It happens. Somebody is in a bad situation at work from which they can't escape. Your neighbors are horrible. You got the masjid, it's like World War, whatever World War, right? So, example of destructive, unhealthy reactions to stress, you feel anxious all the time. Ou bien la cage, vous ne connaissez plus au cauchemar bien. Okay? Deuxièmement, headache. You can get brain tissue damage. You can get high blood pressure, heart disease, weakening of the bones. You can have immune deficiency, muscle tension, disorders with monthly menstrual disorders, miscarriage, depression, anger, fear, nervousness, all those are negative. And the thing about it is, the more you stay in a negative stress situation, what happens is your body's immune system continues to deteriorate and leading to serious medical conditions, such as a variety of malignancies. So, how do you react to stress? The body exhibits signs of stress very gradually, right? And so, if you are, and you may not initially realize what's happening. And so, when you're experiencing stress, your brain starts producing high levels of two hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. And your brain does that. This is Allah's creation. It's to help you survive. To help you deal with that situation. Because once you generate that in your bloodstream, it's an awful slide, and I don't know why the color changed, not supposed to change. Basically, what happens is the sympathetic nervous system and the endocrine hormone system are activated. There's a question about that, Dr. Farida can explain for me. Otherwise, my co-author nobody explains that. And then what happens here is what's interesting. What is interesting is first, your blood is directed from the skin and internal organs to your brain and large muscles. This is happening within you and you don't realize it, right? You can think faster. You can lift heavier weights. Right? Vous attendez en train des enfants qui passent en bas de l'auto, et si madame elle lève l'auto là, and saves her child. Your child is in the middle of the road, a bus is coming, though you are not an Olympic athlete, you will be able to get that child back to the pavement before that bus gets come. Because those chemicals your bloodstream that Allah has activated are just like, you're like energized, right? You are more alert. You have improved vision, improved hearing, and other sensory responses. You have glucose, release of glucose and fatty acids for sustenance. But your immune system is also depressed. And notice when you're stressed, you don't feel hungry. For example, right? So, and digestive processes basically very often, they're shut. Okay? So, that's how stress works. That happens and that is normal. The problem is when you're in a bad situation. Your body keeps producing those hormones and basically then you can potentially be hurt in the manners that were described. Okay? So the stress response itself is neutral. Some stressful activities, aerobic acts, can improve a person's ability to manage stressful situations. Stress can energize you. You're about to take a big exam, you get a little bit of adrenaline, and it just kind of gets you going, right? And so a little bit of stress is good for you, right? Yeah? And so giving your first job interview, giving a public speech, fine. Negative stress results from a prolonged activation of stress response. Right? That poor spouse who now accuse both the husband and wife. 40% of battery by a spouse in the United States happens with a wife beating up her husband or shooting her husband. I don't want to know what you know, but it's true. Anyway. So inability to cope with the increased surge of energy following the stress response, and person's vulnerability in certain situations. So, for example, argument with a co-worker, survived an accident, you already, maybe you are not, you have backlash, you have other things happening to you. Top of it, you're already weakened, and now you're getting a long lecture from your spouse. You know what I'm saying? You come home and you go like, Manchester lost another match, right? You are not ready to talk about less important things like buying a new house or something. Okay. So, what are your coping mechanisms? Do you tense up? When you have stress, do you tense up? Do you eat? You stand at the fridge or in front of the guys selling Dalcories and just keep eating, right? Because people who are stressed, they eat when they are not hungry, so they go and eat a whole carton of ice cream, something like that. Stress and overeating go together. You get impatient. You have trouble falling asleep at night. You have trouble concentrating. You get angry for no reason at all. Like, you're talking to your wife and using words that you know you should never use. You can hear yourself saying those words. And you wish you didn't say them, but you're stressed and it just comes out. Okay? So, how does Islam deal with stress? What does Islam say? So, many other techniques that I'm going to show you, many great scholars have mentioned them in the past, and but what we have done is we have tied it back to current research, and we have looked at the research behind why some of those work. So, one of the hadith, so many of these techniques are rooted in Islamic spirituality and different Islamic forms of worship, right? Ibadat, which can be, if performed in the correct manner, considered as good tools for coping with life's stresses. One hadith, yes?
You wrote it under stress.
I wrote it under what?
Under stress.
Under stress. Yeah, this? No, I did write it this.
Ibadat.
Oh, yeah. That's probably what happened. Yeah, I should correct it, shouldn't I? So, Abu Hurairah reports, it's a hadith to start you off, that Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, for every misfortune, illness, anxiety, grief, or hurt that afflicts a Muslim, even the hurt caused by the pricking of a thorn, Allah removes some of these sins. the way that you deal with stress. Right? It's the way you deal with stress. You know, I visited somebody recently whose spouse had died, and unfortunately, the surviving spouse, all he can do is sit and wish to be dead. Here you have to be careful. You have to be careful. I'll show you a dua later on. If somebody really stressed, there's a dua that you can recite with respect to death. Okay? Actually, you have it later on in this. I've included many du'as there for you. So, you have to remember that if you can handle a difficult situation with sabr, that's why Allah says, Inna Allah ma'as sabirin. Right? Allah is with those who patiently persevere. If you can handle it without saying things you shouldn't, like take me with him and bury me with him, right? You hear that at burials. Then Allah will remove some of your sins. Okay? So, the first one is the faith oasis. We talk about those 5 steps as 5 oases. In psychology, when dealing or counseling people with stress, we typically talk about oases. Right? The first one is the faith oasis. This is a very important verse. Does anybody know where this comes from? Surah Yusuf?
Yeah.
When? After? Go and look it up, please. Okay. Do you remember? The father is saying that because his son, basically, he's telling his other sons, go and look for him. And then he adds this. That's a very important verse. It says, إِنَّهُ لَا يَيْأَسُ مِنْ رَوْحِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا قَوْمُ الْكَافِرِينَ. Truly, no one despairs of Allah's soothing except those who know. So if somebody despairs, if you have a death in the family, failed HS, was not a lawyer, you know, any number of things, didn't get the spouse you wanted to get married to, right? If you despair, that's a sign of a lack of faith. Because what else does Allah say? What does it say when you sometimes make dua and you don't get it? Why? What does Allah say? Maybe what you wanted was not good for you. Right? So there are many stories about this, but I'm looking at time, I don't have time to. So the stress response is not created by any particular event or situation. It's a matter of perception or awareness. One of the most important points that my co-author and I make is this idea. Very simply, when we look at stress, so the stress reaction is activated by neural perceptions or by what amounts to one world's view. This is important. The reason it is important is because when we look at the most recent research regarding the psychology of stress, what we find is that control. You feel stressed because you feel out of control. But what you have to remember is what is your world view. As a Muslim, your world view is that it is Allah who controls the whole world and all the creatures in it, and He is always in control of the whole world and supports Him. And so, as someone who believes in Allah, and Allah has total control. You as a Muslim, if you truly have Iman, you can never be out of control. Do you understand what I just said? That's why that verse before that I recited, truly no one despairs of the soothing mercy of Allah except those who have faith. If you have Iman, you believe in the one who has complete control, you are in control. Because Allah, what did He say? La yukallifullahu. I'm having a break. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما كسبت. I know whole verse. But the point is, He will never, it's a promise that He made, He will never put you in a situation that you can't handle. I always tell people, you get in a situation like that, make your wudu, find a place, go pray. Pray to Rafik. Ask the one that is in control to help you. And you will see doors open that you never imagined. May not right away, but they will open. And you have to have Iman that they will open. You have to have trust that they will open. Okay? So, it is reported by Umar radiallahu anhu that the Prophet has said, if you people depended on Allah, I should. And he's talking to Muslims at the time, who were the generation, the best Muslims, right? He would provide for you as He provides for the birds, leaving their nest, hungry, and coming back satisfied. The concept of doubt. It's such an important concept. You must always trust. Always. Allah is omniscient. Nothing happens without a reason. No matter how bad it is, no matter how much you wanted something, then if you got it, it will destroy you. Always this concept of tawakkul is so critical in Islam. So, this is an important hadith. And I want you to remember the dua that goes with it. It is reported by Talq bin Habib, who said, a man came to Abu Darda, one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and said to him, "Oh Abu Darda, your house has burned." He said, "No, it can't be burned. Allah will never allow this to happen. Because of the words that I heard from the prophets. Whoever says these words the beginning of the day, the Prophet ﷺ told us, will not be afflicted by misfortune until the end of the day. And whoever says these words till the evening will not be afflicted until the morning." And what are these words? Here are this dua, and you should remember it. These words are, this is in Fiqh Sunnah, volume 4, 115. You can look up the Arabic version of it. "Oh Allah, you're my Lord. There is no God but you. I put my trust in you. You are the Lord of the mighty throne. Whatever Allah wills will happen. And what He does not will cannot happen. There is no power or strength except with Allah, the exalted, the mighty. I know that Allah has power over all things, and Allah comprehends all things in knowledge. Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you from the evil of myself and from the evil of all creatures under your control. Surely the straight way is my sustenance." You say it with khushu. You say it with iman. And the story ends. They went there. Every house around his house had burned down. His house was still standing. Nothing had happened. You have to have trust. You have to have trust. No matter what. No matter what. Okay? So, the second one is the meditation and relaxation oasis. So we know from research that meditation elicits the relaxation response. And it allows you right? And it allows you to remain comfortable for long periods of time without expending significant amounts of energy. Let's look at the research. Because this was said at a time when nobody knew what it did. So Dr. Dean Ulrich, clinical professor of medicine at the University of California, incorporated an extensive meditation program into a complete lifestyle for patients with heart disease. The data published in a longitudinal trial, 5-year trial, indicated reductions in total and low density LDL, cholesterol, decrease in general symptoms, and regression of the coronary artery disease. Because you can measure it. It's not just wishful thinking. Okay? Secondly, we know that when you meditate, because it elicits the relaxation response, I better finish. 10 minutes, inshallah. So, carpe means when you're sleeping, your O2 consumption, oxygen consumption, drops by 8% during restful sleep. But that takes about 4 to 5 hours. When you're meditating, when you're thinking about Allah, for example, you can achieve a 10 to 17% reduction in O2 consumption in a matter of minutes. So when you're done with your prayer, don't rush out to buy that mentality. Sit there. Besides the du'as to be recited, right? The Prophet ﷺ said that anybody who recites Ayat al-Kursi after each prayer, the only thing separating him from paradise is death. Recite Ayat al-Kursi. Think about it. Reflect on it. Make your tasbih. And say it slowly and with khushu'. Think about why you are saying Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, it's not Allah is great. Allah is the greatest. It's superlative in Arabic. Kabir, Akbar. The English is inadequate. That's why all of you must learn Arabic. Okay? Why is Allah the greatest? Okay? Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah. Why? Okay? So when you do that slowly, with purpose, with a reflection, you can do this, your body will do this normally. Okay? It will do this. Allah has created the cure within you for reducing stress. So, and in fact, the Quran describes it in Surah Al-Imran, verse 191. Allah is saying, الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ رَبَّنَا. You're talking to Allah. مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا سُبْحَانَكَ فَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Right? He or she who celebrates the praise of Allah, standing, sitting, lying on your side. You can't fall asleep. Do tasbih. Think, relax. Before you know it, think about Allah. As you calm this tasbih down, you're breathing, thinking about Allah. This anxiety will leave. Okay? So, and our Lord, not for nothing have you created all this glory to you. Give us salvation from the penalty of the fire. Meditate about the blessings Allah has given you. I'll give you one example. All of you can hear. I have difficulty hearing. One of the things that your ear does automatically if Zaid is speaking and all of you are making noise, I can literally turn off your ear, will do that, and hear Zaid only. My answer, my hearing aids can't do that. I hear all sounds at the same time. Did you know that? This is a blessing of Allah in just hearing. Everything that Allah has done, put in your body, is a blessing. We simply don't appreciate it. So when you reflect on that, you're saying, Alhamdulillah. You're reflecting on the blessings He has given you. You're grateful for what He has given you. You see, and here, not for nothing have you created all of this. You will find slowly, all that stress is ebbing away from you. Your oxygen level consumption starts going down. You're able to get better sleep, deeper sleep, better quality sleep. And we know that from research. Okay? So meditation can be performed by concentrating on one word or a few words that give the person a sense of internal peace and calm. For example, by repeating the words Subhanallah or Alhamdulillah. Okay? Deep and silent repetition of such words produces the same physiological effects of meditation, and Allah mentions people engaged in this introspective process in Surah 13, verse 28. Run over me, that's me talking to myself. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَتَطْمَئِنُّ قُلُوبُهُمْ بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Science today is telling us that when we meditate, look what it's doing to our heart. It's actually regressing those kind of arterial issues that you get. It's setting you at rest. This is Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam couldn't have known this, but Allah did. Right? Bidhikrillah. Allah bidhikrillah. Those who believe and whose hearts are set at rest by remembrance of Allah. Now surely by Allah's remembrance are the hearts set at rest. This is what science now, and we have yet to keep, we're still discovering much about stress. 1400 years ago, the creator of us all put that there for us. In the Quran, telling us what we needed to. Alright? So the imagination voices, often used by psychiatrists, I know why my co-author put it there, and I have like 3 minutes left. So, I know, by the grace of Allah, I do have a strong background in psychology. I'm not as, my co-author is really good in that area. She's fantastic. During this practice, the person imagines that he or she is in a place giving him internal peace, calmness, and rest. Why do you think Allah describes paradise so vividly? Not just as an extrinsic motivation, but if you can think of yourself, inshallah, in paradise, or in a place of rest. So you're sitting down, and you relax, and you're imagining yourself walking on this path, and you get to this building that's heavy doors, and you open those doors, and as you go through, and you close the doors, all the noise from outside is gone. You're leaving behind everything that is causing you stress, making you angry, making you sad. And you get to the other side, and you imagine yourself in a beautiful garden, with beautiful trees, with beautiful sky, with the birds singing, left all your worries behind. And you're going to stay there for a little while. And you're going to pray to Allah and tell Him what the problems that you're facing. And because you're praying with Iman and with Khushu, inshallah, He will open the door for you. And you are there for a little while. And after you're breathing deep, and after a while, all that stress melts off you, and you then come back slowly through the doors to you. This is a real exercise that we perform in counseling people that, for example, are in fight. Islam has always talked about that. So I just took you through it. So there are other ways of doing it. Abu Hurairah, for example, said that the Prophet said, I have prepared for my pious servants bounties which no eye has ever seen, no ear has ever heard, no human heart has ever perceived. The fifth one is prayer. Prayer is very important. Who among you have read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits? You have. He talks about sharpening the sword in that book. He was in Saudi Arabia, and people were saying, oh, we have... Then he said, but you guys, you have the solution. When you get tired, you get stressed, you make wudu, you pray Zohar. Then everything that happens, you go make wudu, you pray Asr, you go home. You're going to make wudu, you're going to pray Maghrib. He said, you are doing what you've already been doing for a millennia. What he talks in his book, which is prayer, sharpens the sword, which is the term that he uses. And here the Quran said in chapter 2, verse 153, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah, inna Allaha ma'as-sabirin. All you believe, seek help. Allah is telling you, you're in danger, you have a problem, seek help with patient perseverance and prayer, for Allah is with those who patiently persevere. It was reported by Jabir, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet said, your prayers are a flowing river at your doorstep, in which you wash yourself in it 5 times a day. Results show. Let me show you some results of prayer. We know from research, and I'm going to be concluding very soon, because I know the sisters getting upset a bit with me there. It's a research by Dr. Koenig of Duke University. What prayer does, it inhibits cortisol, epinephrine, and norepinephrine, hormones that flow out of the adrenal glands in response to stress. This fight or flight chemicals over time, when a bad stress situation, can compromise the immune system, basically increasingly ulcer diseases, heart disease, stroke, peptic ulcer, inflammatory bowel disease. And what they found is that when you're in the hospital and you don't have to make wudu, you can make tayammum, you can pray with your eyes, you don't have to, if you can't move to face the qibla any direction, but pray. What they find is that prayer helps you heal physically. You will get out of the hospital faster. In fact, many doctors in the United States now prefer, in some cases, not to use medication. So, prayer, right? Allah has put something in there for you already. So, the whole idea when you're talking about Islamic coping mechanisms is this one. It's an imagery that's important. The Prophet reported about Abu Hurairah, the exemplar believer is like a fresh tender plant from whichever direction the wind blows. It bends the plant. It bends. You have a problem, At work, you bend, you don't break. You have a problem in your spouse, you bend, you don't break, right? When the wind dies down straight and upside. But similarly, a believer is tested by afflictions to strengthen his faith. Those tests are there to test, as I said, the genuineness of your faith. You will be tested. I will be tested. And he remains patient and firm, an evil person like a pine tree which remains hard and stiff until Allah breaks it whenever he wills. This is the triple sunnah. And then this is my last point that I'm going to make. After this, I will whole lot of dua for you to read and practice in your own life. I even give some of them, if you don't know the Arabic, they're on YouTube. Okay, just put all you hear on my website, islamicworkplace.com. So Atta ibn Rabah related that he heard Ibn Abbas say, "Shall I show you a woman of paradise?" I said, "Yes." Indeed, he said, a black woman came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, "I suffer from epileptic fits. And because of this, at times, my body becomes uncovered. Would you invoke Allah, the Exalted One, to cure me of this disease?" We know many instances where the Prophet ﷺ cured people of disease. Right? So, somebody was afflicted in his eye, the Prophet ﷺ, well, you know the story. Right. So, the Prophet ﷺ said, if you wish, you can be patient and you will attain paradise. You will attain paradise for this suffering. Okay? But if you prefer, I will pray to Allah the Exalted to cure you. The woman then said, I'll be patient. And added, I become uncovered when I have fits. So invoke Allah for me that I don't become uncovered and, in a sense, don't remove the illness. From that time, it is said, she would have epileptic fits, but she never uncovered herself. Okay? So I'm going to stop right here, and there are many du'as that are there for you. The Prophet ﷺ said, and this is maybe my last time, Allah has decreed everything, but nothing can avert the decree of Allah except dua, and nothing increases life except virtuous deeds. I used to know a woman who used to come to our house. I was 8 or 9 years old. And I remember she would seek refuge in our house. Her husband was a Muslim, beating her. Covered in blood. My dad, as some of you know, was a prison officer. He wanted to go and beat the guy. And my mom started. This woman made dua. Not just for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. One day, this man was very challenging in so many ways, not just beating her, but had other issues. Flip. He became the best Muslim around, the most loving husband. The power of dua. The power of dua. I have many duas there. They've been carefully selected. Use them, inshallah. I'm stop right here. Subhanaka wa So if you have any question, please raise your hand. If I can't answer them, I will have my co-author write to you. My email is there. From a physiological point of view, my dear friend and sister, Dr. Farid, there is there. She can answer those questions. I don't know all these things. Yeah. He probably, yeah, he knows. Yeah. Can you speak real loud?
Can you recommend any guided meditation which you can find online?
Any guided
meditation for this?
See, there are some good ones. If you there's one that's easy to do, right? I always talk about that in terms of the guided. There's a whole field of research now called mindfulness. Mindfulness, one word, right? I want you to go on YouTube and type and look at mindfulness and Muslims. And they have a program whereby they guide you through some of the things we talk about here in a systematic way to engage in the type of meditation. Mindfulness is a lot of research. No, in general, that's what we think. It's much more than that. Okay?
One word, mindfulness.
Mindfulness, one word, and just say like a Muslim perspective. There are 3 people that talk about it. That's one way. But then there are others that talk about it. I have to look. You email me. Any other question? You guys are ready to go home, huh? You go to dua.
Thank you very much, Professor Rafik, for the insightful presentation. We'd like to thank Professor for doing all the talking the whole day. May Allah bless you amply for the time and effort that you've spent preparing the presentation and sharing it with us. We'd also like to thank all of you who've come and spent the whole day with us. May Allah bless you all. May Allah bless you all and facilitate everything for you. Before we end with dua, just one announcement. Next week, at here on Friday 18, there's going to be a talk by Mufti Ismail Desai on the topic how Sharia compliant is your business. You know, it's a very important topic when someone is doing business. Any business that we are doing, we have to ensure that it is in line with what Allah has decreed. So this topic is very important. It's going to be at IIT here, Friday 18. Do you know the time? 9? At 9 p.m. And there's a second, on the 16th of February, 2 to 3:30, there's going to be a lecture on medicine of the Prophet ﷺ by Professor Dr. Ghufran Ahmad from Aligarh University.
HWL will invite you for the conference to be given by Dr. Ghufran Ahmad, who is a specialist in Unani medicine, a great well-known scholar, Muslim scholar. This will happen on the 16th of February, inshallah. Please consult our Facebook and website for more details. Inshallah.
Now we'll end with dua.
ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت. لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت. تباركت ربنا وتعاليت. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.